For Black MAGA Men News, I'm Wilfred Ruck. I have a shameful admission to make. I voted for Obama in 2008. Reluctantly. But only after pleas from my children. Dad, we know you're a Republican, but you gotta vote for Obama. I knew better, but I did it anyway for history's sake. I despise symbolism with a passion. Words and symbols without action are meaningless to me. But he promised hope, and he promised change. He was Harvard educated, and it seemed like, Democrat or not, he had the best of intentions. And he was young. Perhaps, just perhaps, he could usher in a new era of racial reconciliation. I was wrong. At times, it seemed almost like he was the fulfillment of Dr. Martin Luther King's dream, the coming Messiah for Black people. My God. They were selling t-shirts with both their faces. I didn't then, and I don't now, have a bad impression of Obama personally or of his wife. But Obama failed Black people in 3 spectacular ways. First, he failed to give us a history-making speech, a majestic speech, a bookend to Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, a speech given at the same place where Martin Luther King made his speech, a speech on racial reconciliation, an uplifting, dramatic, timeless speech that reflects Black people's progress in America. He could even have invoked those themes in both his first and second inaugurations, since they were both on Martin Luther King's day. A squandered opportunity. Second, his Supreme Court appointments. These soured me on Obama more than anything. His first appointment was Sonia Sotomayor, a Latina woman. His second appointment, a white woman, Alina Kagan. She wasn't even a judge, she was a law professor. And then late in his second term, when he had an unprecedented third opportunity, he appointed a white man, Merrick Garland. How can you explain, given 3 opportunities? Obama didn't appoint the first Black woman to the Supreme Court. We had to wait 5 more years for a white president, his then Vice President Biden, to appoint Ketanji Brown Jackson. She was there all along. Third, he failed to introduce legislation inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement to curb police brutality. In 2018, years before George Floyd's murder, Obama met with a Color of Change activist and a BLM member.
So my name is Rashad Robinson with Color of Change. I actually testified in front of the 21st Century Commission, and Color of Change members have been raising their voices over and over again all around the country as we see these killings of unarmed Black folks, and we wait for a response. And so I do believe that meetings like this are incredibly important, bringing people together from different walks of life to have constructive conversations. And the president took a lot of time. And one of the things that really resonated for me in terms of solutions that the president laid out was his openness to looking at the levers that the federal government has in terms of funding. That is something that Color of Change members are calling on, other folks in the community are calling on. Unless we actually change the incentive structures, the money that goes into law enforcement from federal government, and start making real shifts in terms of how practices are done at the local level, we will be here 5, 10, 15 years from now. So in terms of practical solutions, also data being another area of work that we need to look into. So those as key areas that the president laid out are really important.
My name is Misha Grimm with Black Lives Matter Minneapolis. Today was extremely powerful. We just came off of one of the most difficult weeks we've seen in America in recent history. There have been hundreds of thousands of protesters all over the world. There have been over 400 people arrested just in America, protesters arrested. And to see Obama bring us all into the room and have a conversation shows that he's paying attention, that he wants to see something happen, and he's ready for some productive change. He spoke about having only 6 months left in office and how he wants to continue this work after he leaves and make sure that this continues at the White House.
Well, symbolism and talk are just that. What actions did Obama take following that meeting? Anything? Nothing. Let's move on. I want to state unequivocally that I'm neither an admirer nor a supporter of Louis Farrakhan. However, people out of the mainstream sometimes are the ones who have the courage to say things that are true.
So you Democrats, you've been in that party a long time. Answer me, what did you get? You got a president. He's worried about his legacy. Well, You want Hillary to get in to protect your legacy because Trump said the minute he get in, he's going to reverse the Affordable Care Act because that's your signature achievement. To show you how hateful the enemy is, he hates that you achieved what you did achieve. So he said, I'm going to tear it up when I get in. So he don't want his legacy destroyed. Mr. President, let the man do if he get in what he wanted. Because he's not destroying your legacy. If your legacy is bound up in an Affordable Care Act that only affects a few million people and they're trying to make it really difficult for those of us who signed up, that's not your legacy. But I just want to tell you, Mr. President, you from Chicago and so am I. I go out in the street with the people. I visited the worst neighborhoods. I talked to the gangs. And while I was out there talking to them, they said, you know, Farrakhan, the president ain't never come. Could you get him to come and look after us? There's your legacy, Mr. President. It's in the street with your suffering people, Mr. President. And if you can't go and see about them, then don't worry about your legacy. Because the white people that you've served so well, they'll preserve your legacy. The hell they will. But you didn't earn your legacy with us. We put you there. You fought for the rights of gay people. You fought for the rights of this people and that people. You fight for Israel. Your people are suffering and dying in the streets. That's where your legacy is. Now you failed to do what should have been done. But it's never too late. You, like Jimmy Carter, can be a better president after you leave the restrictions of your White House and come on back to the hood and start organizing like you did. And with your influence all over the world, let's make a new and better people. And from us, if it's Allah's will, we can make a new and better America. Thank you for...
While there was nothing even symbolical he did for black people, he did something both symbolic and significant for the LGBT crowd. In the beginning of his second term, he pushed to legalize gay marriage. On the day the Supreme Court made it legal, he lit up the White House in their colors. You know, Biden made Juneteenth a federal holiday in his first term. Symbolical, yes, but not bad for a white president. In the 1960s, Martin Luther King Jr. marshaled the anger and the riots in the streets and used his influence to get President Johnson to pass the Civil Rights Act. Imagine if even after his presidency, during the George Floyd riots, Obama took the lead in the Black Lives Matter movement, harnessed that anger into nationwide NTSB-like oversight, crafting new procedures for law enforcement to reduce police brutality. Does anyone even remember after only a few months in office, Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize? Yep, he won it for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. But at home here in America, what did he do to bring peace for black people? The fact is, Obama had no vision, no hope, no change, and no dream for black people. He was nothing more than a high-level government administrator with black skin. 8 squandered years. I challenge you to listen to the news this Black History Month, talk to your children about what they were taught, and see if you can find any mention at all of his accomplishments for black people. They simply aren't any. He was an abject failure, an inconsequential, half-white first black president. For Black MAGA Men News, I'm Wilfred Ruck.